Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Jordan and the room's a mess, but that's okay because I'm actually about to leave. I'm about to go out, hang out with some friends. So I thought I would do a really cool get ready with me while I talk about Slay, the book. And this book is just so freaking amazing and I love it. I feel like it touched on so many different things. Dwayne probably ready for me to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and let's just get into the footage of me getting ready and talking about Slay. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Love and light, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But don't leave yet, because we gotta get ready, right? Bye. This actual everyday look, I guess, is the one that I feel anytime I do it on my channel, someone below is like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Or what makeup did you wear? So I was like, let me go ahead and film it. And I'll try to put all the products on the screen. That way it doesn't hold me up in talking about the book. Slay, I thought was really, really good. I feel like people, when it's described, they say it's like for people who like Ready Player One. It's like Ready Player One solely in the fact that it's about like gaming. Like everything else to me is different in the sense this is talking about like really like some real social issues. Let me get my base together before I even start talking about that. And kind of like the reason why I do those orders, this is actually Jackie Ina who has me setting my primer. Now I love doing that. And then my foundation, this is like my go-to. Anytime you see this little brick out here, that's because I used a different foundation. Anytime I use a different foundation, something goes wrong. And I use my beauty blender. I'm a beauty blender person. Sometimes I use a brush, most times I don't. Really love this foundation, and anytime I use anything else, life goes wrong. What I loved about this book is the fact that it showcased how different types of black people, like we're all different. Like, you know, yeah, we share the commonality that we're black, but that's really that, you know, there's black gamers, there's black people who are, who will handle certain situations. You could put one black person in a situation and another black person in a situation, we're going to handle it completely different because we're different people, like, you know. And the book really focuses in on that. Like even with the main character, oh, how did I forget her name already? Kiara, her sister who, you know, she grew up with, living in the same house. They're different. They have several different interests. They handle situations completely different and all of that. But I like that, you know, it showed gaming, but it also showed like fun and beauty without like super traumaticness happening. Like it was like you're showing real dimensional people and you're not making the trauma the focus. You're kind of more so making the characters the focus and what's going on in their life the focus. And I really appreciated that. Like that, this book shows how you can tackle social issues without like making a book where it's just gonna make white people at the end of the day be like, oh, that was so sad, I feel much better about myself now that I read it. Like, you know, and oh my gosh, it sucks to be you. Like, you know, without that, it's showing like the beauty in how it's cool. Like it's dope. Like there's a lot of dopeness that goes on, and yeah, there's a lot of annoying crap that we have to deal with by no fault of our own, but it shows like the coolness and like the variety of interests and the variety of types of people. I thought it was hilarious that they had her have a Hotep boyfriend, because you know he was really getting on my nerves. Like he was irking every time he came on the screen. He was irking my nerves, and I was like, I said screen every time I read about him. And I say screen because I could so see this actually adapted. Like I visualized everything, and you probably saw in my haul that I was like, I need this to be actually like a real video game, and I meant that. Like I would actually play this game. Like the game, the description of it, and when you're reading the chapters, like I am so here for it. But back to what I was saying with the Hotep boyfriend, I actually felt so much better once her sisters, like it was mentioned, you know, her sister thinks he's Hotep, and that took me out because I was like, Hotep radar was on 1000. And you know, no shade to people who are Hotep, but there's a balance, and I think it shows like, you know, how some people, you know, without talking too much, going too in depth, but it's more so like some people, like, you act like you're down for the cause, but you're really down for your own progression. Are you really down for the progression of everyone, or is it just based off of whatever your one linear views are, that everybody has to fall into that? I think that's something that we all like really deal with. Like, if you're black, you know those hotep like people, and you know those people where sometimes, you know, everything in moderation. Sometimes, you know, you have some valid points and there are some cool stuff, but then sometimes, you know, your black pride essentially turns into somehow black male pride, where it's like, I'm not really for all of us. It's more so like, I will oppress black women, and I will, like, you know, there's a thin line where you're like, you know, like, if you know, you know, y'all know what, y'all black, y'all know what I'm talking about. And I'm always like, do people who are hotep, do they know they're hotep? You know, because sometimes it is a thin line. Like, there's one thing of having awareness and knowing things, and, you know, not taking everything for face value, and reading a lot and looking into all that. But when you start realizing that you are starting to somehow mimic your oppressor in the same ways of the ways that you don't like it, I think that should be the bell that rings, like, wait a minute, why would I have a problem with a woman doing X, Y, and Z? You know, I went on a whole hotep rant. Let me stop. I wonder how this video is going to come out. And if you're like, why are you using two different concealers? I use this concealer as an eyeshadow base, and I basically do that while my good concealer dries under my eye. So, fun fact about this is the only concealer I will use now is NARS. Clearly, I love NARS for face products. And I use the shade Caramel underneath my eyes, and it's like my favorite go-to. It's perfect. But before that, I was using LA Girl Pro Concealer, the one you can find at the beauty supply store for like $2.99, because it still has a price on it. And I have so many of these, and I love using this. I use Warm Honey, and I used to use that as my concealer. But then you mess up and you spend a lot of money and get a luxury item, and you can never go back. But the thing about the concealer is you have to let it dry down, so that takes quite a bit of time. So what I like to do is I like to just move on to the rest of my face while that's happening. So, you know, Fenty, I love everything Fenty. But this I really love, which I never used to contour. But Rihanna got me into contouring because this stick is bomb, and the shade is just bomb. Like, I feel like with a lot of those contour shades, it's really not even like, even when they have like those shades for black people, a lot of times it would make me look like Grayscale. If you guys watch Game of Thrones, like, that's what I felt like it would end up making me look like. This with the Rihanna, somehow she got the perfect, that truffle shade for me is like perfect. It's like a nice brown that's just deep enough and warm enough, but also it's like a muted brown, and it does it for me. Blend, baby, blend, blend. I finally feel good enough where I feel like that's dried down enough. I'm gonna go ahead and blend my concealer out, and we can get back to the book. Y'all know the drill. If y'all have ever watched people do makeup, a lot of times you set your makeup, and I love Laura Mercier. I'm no different. That is the setting powder of my choice, and this is how I do it. I look crazy like the first presidents. And back in the day when I used to put all that powder on their face, take a little brush and dust that off. I am not a baker. I don't like that bake look. I feel like it looks like too done up. And that means that's not going nowhere. And I kind of move that around a little further down, put some over there on my temples. And one of my favorite things to do is use MAC's Skin Finish. And this is in dark tan. And I just love this because I feel like it just brings that color, you know, right back out. And it's almost like this is like me setting my contour, but it's really not a contour. It's just what I do. It's almost like a bronzer, but I'm actually gonna put bronzer on. Y'all will learn that I love bronzing. Like, that's my favorite part of makeup, is probably bronzing. I feel like that's the thing that makes the most to me as to when my face looks really good. I feel like it has to do with my bronzer. So for bronzers, I'm definitely a Fenty lover, and I'm also crazy because I like them so much. I couldn't choose. I chose these two and I was like, I gotta pick one. But I really like how they layer. So I have Beige and Gal and Caramel Cutie. So I'm going to use those. And yeah, and they're the ones right next to each other. So Beige and Girl, I guess if you're like look at that, that's good. So like if you're lighter than me, you know this thing is really popping. Like this is the one that Rihanna, I guess, uses. So you know, like it'll probably really have you popping. And I really love Caramel Cutie. I layer that with it. I feel like somehow, I don't know if some things with the undertones as to why I like it, because this one I feel like is a little bit clearly it's deeper, but it's also warmer. And I feel like something about having that with it on top, it's just perfect for me. Like it makes it not too much, but also just enough. Ooh, ain't nothing like bronzer. Like look at that. Just immediately that it looks so much better. I look like good. Like that just made me look good. Like somehow, ooh, look to the side. Ooh, I actually look a little bruised. Like ooh. Okay, now this is the thing that brings it all up. MAC Fix Plus, believe it, somehow it does something where it makes everything just melt together. Like if my makeup's not coming out right, what I do is I'll spritz it with this, and if this can't save it, can't nothing save it. So now that I have basically the base of my face all good and go, I'm gonna move on to my eyes. Jackie Aina came out with a palette. If you guys are in the beauty world, look at this, this is holographic. If you guys are in the beauty world, you're already familiar with this. I feel like what she stands for is beyond beauty, and I really appreciate and love Jackie Aina. I've been watching her for years, so I was so excited for this palette, so I had to support her even though I have 1,010 palettes and said I was not going to buy an eyeshadow palette this year. But look how beautiful it is. Outside of it just being Jackie Aina, I've been using this so much. Like this has become my new go-to palette. This is what I use. So anyways, I've really been loving it. So I'm gonna take some of these shades and I'm gonna do like a everyday kind of like look. But let me go ahead and get started. So while I'm talking back on Slay. So with Slay, I thought it was really cool because, you know, there was a little bit of a twist in the book that I don't know if, like, I found myself like when it got towards the end, it really started getting good. So let's say you pick up Slay, right? And you're reading it and you're like, oh, this is kind of okay. But you're not understanding why people are like, this book is so good. That's because I think the book really takes off and pure climax, you know, setup is really like midway through the book. Like I made the mistake and was like, I'll just read a few pages thinking, because I knew how the book was gonna go, and I tried to read it at night, and then my black self was up all night because I could not put the book down because I had to finish it and figure out how everything turned out, you know. Very great dialogue, really had me engaged and like in the story. Like I was there. Even though throughout you're getting multiple voices, it's not just told from Kiera's perspective. You're getting the other girl who helps her to develop this game. You're getting her information and where she lives and how this is really tying in people from across the globe like this one game is. And it's showing the different lives that all these different black people live. And they're all, like I said again, different black people across the globe, like not even just in America. So I thought that was brilliantly done. They're showing certain people who play Slay from the different age ranges and the different walks and the different backgrounds and what this game and this safe space meant for them. And I love that. The chapters where we were getting another gamer, like somebody else who plays Slay, and we're getting their perspective within it, like I'm almost getting goosebumps talking about it. I'm so extra. But I was looking forward to being introduced to those one-time characters where we don't really know anything about their life, but we get to see a glimpse into their life and like what Slay as an outlet has meant for them. But really the author is doing a good job because it's showing like all the random ish that people be having to go through in their day-to-day life, and this is like their escape. But it's a social commentary and showing all the different looks, like from, you know, even within, whenever you're in a minority group, you know, you could be in multiple different minority groups. You could be in a group where you're you know, you're non-binary. You could be in a group where, you know, you maybe you have a disability. Maybe you are in another minority where maybe you're Black and you're Latina. Like, I'm not saying the book touched on all these different topics, but you get what I'm saying. So it's like being Black, you're Black not just here in America, you're Black across the globe, and you're also Black in whatever other spaces that you occupy. Going on a rant. But I just love those chapters. Like, if you guys have read it, let me know how you guys felt about those chapters where, you know, you're not really learning, you're not really invested in those characters per se, but you're learning a little glimpse into their life. And that, child, whew, I loved. All right, so now this is something that I do with all my eyeshadow because I feel like it makes it pop just a little bit more. I put on this glitter. And actually, let me see what time it is, because, ooh, child, I gotta go. Let me stop talking so much, and let me just hurry up and do this. Talking to y'all, I be slowing down. But I love putting this on. This is NYX primer. This is super cheap, and it's a glitter primer, but I use it even if it's not glitter, even if it's a little shimmer shade. And I feel like it makes the adhesive, it makes it just pop a little bit more, and I just love that. So I think I'm using Zam today. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little Zam. A little Zam. Woo! Look at that Zam. I loved the names that Jackiana chose for her palette. Like, the names are so freaking cute and Black. Which, you know, I love. So it's funny because in the game, or in the book, I say in the game like I've played, but in the book, when it's describing the game, there are like different powers or different cards, I should say, that you're able to utilize that can do different tricks, and they're based on cultural Black references. And I thought that was so cool. And that is kind of what, when I say I love the names to the Jackiana palette, not all of them are like within Black culture, but like there's a shade called Edges, like talking about that. So let me see, what card would I suggest if I was to suggest to Kiara a card to add to Slay, because she was saying that, you know, they're thinking about adding new cards. I'm acting like this is a real game that Kiara done developed that we're able to put input in, but whatever. I'm gonna say I think Edges would be a really good one, actually. Edges would be a good behind card. And the funny thing about that is, for those of you who haven't read, you're gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? But like with Edges, I could see someone getting maybe you have to lay down the edges, so maybe it's like a glop of gel or something with like a brush, and it like wipes the person out and like flattens the person. Or they could even do like if you like, maybe you're losing your edges or something, so it's like, maybe it's like little hairs that are I don't know what that would be. Y'all, yeah, tell me what y'all would have had added as a card, you know, as one of the games. And how the cards work is like, they had like I forget, it was like mac and cheese or potato salad. Like, they had different references like that. Some of them are like food references. They have a Jordan card where it's like these big ass Jordans are coming and like stomping, and it's stuff like that, which I thought was funny and cute. Look at that. And that's just two eyeshadow colors, and that's it, and you're good. I feel like it's just so good. So bomb on her. She came out with such a good palette. All of the shades are so pigmented, and You know, Anastasia, Beverly Hills, I love their palettes regardless. So when Jackie Aina came out with the palette, I was like, you know, I don't need any other palettes, but I do trust the quality of ABH. I was like, when I looked at the colors, I was like, I don't know if those colors are that unique or anything different that I couldn't get with a, you know, something else. And then I got the palette. Like, I ended up just was like, it was the VIB sale. So I was like, girl, support Jackie Aina, you know, just support her. Like, you really appreciate your videos, and a lot of your makeup tips and all that other stuff come from her. And yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna support. Get the palette. The palette looks so much better in person. Like, and when you swatch it, like in a lot of those shades, even if you think they're in the same family, I don't have shades like these. Like, I'll say these are the most universal shades. The one I'm wearing right now, these are the ones where I could say that, you know, when you look at them, you probably can get them from something else. And, you know, I'm saying all that. Let me use this Huda, my Huda Beauty. There's a color Sandalwood that I really like, and I'm gonna put that here because it's a little dark. I'll say the ginger is a little deep, and it works on me. It's just for right now. I'm like, I probably went a little too many layers, you know, because I was talking. But if I only did like one layer, I probably would have been good. The other thing that I started to do is L'Oreal. This is super cheap. I started wearing eyeshadow primer, not eyeshadow, eyelash primer, and I'm so glad I did that because before I was like, if I didn't have false lashes on, if I was like doing a going out look, I felt like I had no lashes, nothing. That I don't care what mascara you put on me, it's not gonna show. I'm not saying this makes my lashes pop like they're fake, but for me, it helps a lot. Makeup is so fun. I swear, for me, makeup is like therapeutic, where it's like you're literally doing art. Like, this is like, to me, that's why I call it makeup artists, right? But you're literally doing art on your face. Like, your face is the canvas, and this is like all your little utensils and different things that you could use. And I just I love it. Like, absolutely love it. So relaxing. And this is another thing that I would really like doing lately is I will put a eyeshadow at the bottom of my at the bottom like that, and I just feel like it makes my eyes pop. But I also realized that I be getting so many compliments. Like, on camera you can't really see it, but in person, like, it's like it makes a difference. It's not like dramatic, but it's like you could add another color or play with something else, you know? And it makes it like pop. Like, it's just a little bit more. Who doesn't like a little shimmer? I know I do. Fenty, for me, love their I love their highlighters. Like, Rihanna, that's what I'm saying. Inclusion. I am very, ooh, child. I never put that on my chin. What was I doing? Gonna have a really bright chin. But a lot of the brands that I find that I like supporting are brands who promote inclusion. So within this video just itself, one, you have Slay, the book, right? But outside of that, just the products that I use in my everyday life. NARS has always, I feel like, had a really good foundation range, and I feel like they, you know, they partner with Black influencers that I like as well. So I like that they, you know, I feel like even in this video, like when you look at the brands that I use, almost all the brands that I use, really all the brands that I use, except for Too Faced. I'll say Too Faced, they're starting to get with it, but I feel like they're not really on that inclusive range. But MAC was for the longest like the only high-end makeup brand that Black people really would go to all the time. So, you know, they're always going to be an OG favorite for me. I feel like they have always had a pretty good range. NARS has a really great range of skincare or face products. I don't ever have to worry about looking ashy or anything with them. Jackie Aina, her whole brand is being inclusive. Fenty goes out, Rihanna goes out of her way every single time to make sure every everything is inclusive. Like even with her promo, like I did a video when that had first came out because I was just so impressed with the shade, not just the shade range, but this was on initial launch, and everything she does. Even when watching her her Fenty Savage, even though, let me not say that I wasn't like wowed by the show like that, but I will say it was very inclusive. Like you have people, amputees, you have all different skin tones, you have transgender, it was just all different shades in all different races, because you know there are different shades in all races. So I just love that she always puts that at the forefront, you know. But yeah, like those are the brands that I choose to use, and I think they have really good quality. But additional to quality, I don't feel bad putting my money there. I don't want to feel bad supporting certain things, you know. Makeup is something that I use a lot, so I rather the brand be a brand that I actually can mess with, you know. Now again, like I said, Too Faced, they're not the most inclusive, you know. That's just keeping it all the way real. I don't think they are. I think they kind of did a little better job, but they got a long way to go. But you know, I think they do have a really good eyelash, you know, mascara, I should say. So I'll use them, but it's not like if there's another brand that comes out with something, I'll probably go to them, you know, that can compete. Whew. That is a lot, but I love being a little juicy. And then lastly, the last thing that I have to do to set my face is Urban Decay, the all-nighter. Ooh, that is another juicy. And then for lips, I am going to use my MAC Court. I have like 10 different lip liners, and this is the only one that I really use. And then I am going to use Aaliyah. This was with MAC. It was the release with MAC, and this was Try Again. Aaliyah, I just love Aaliyah. So I did, the collection, I felt like they could have did a much better job, but I'm not gonna lie, this Try Again, some people didn't like this. For me, this has been my everyday go-to, child. It is like the perfect nude. And I'm gonna put gloss on top of that, but that's like the perfect nude. Look at that. And then also the gloss, I love this. This is another one from the Aaliyah, which this was a limited collection. So sorry, this is just my go-to, but look at that. So that was basically my book review of Slay. You are getting quality content. I feel like this is good for all ages. I would say middle school and up. Even if you were like a little me, 4th, 5th grade, Jordan would have loved this book. All the way up to Jordan right now love this book. So anywhere between those ranges, I think it's really good. I love the topics that were discussed and the angles that were discussed, but it used gaming to do that. This was a well thought out book, and this is not just a video game book. This is about real stuff, but it has fun within it. It has light within it. It's something that I think different minority groups can relate to in general. I thoroughly appreciated, which is something that I didn't discuss while I was doing my makeup, but I want to discuss, is the fact that I like that it showed the relationship that Kiera has with one of her good friends who is white, and who it shows how sometimes when you know, you have these friends, or maybe you are that friend where you may have a friend who's black, or in this case if you have a friend who is white, and you know that person doesn't mean any harm, but at the same time it's still like they ask you these questions as if you're the person who can answer them when you cannot speak for an entire race. And a lot of the times it's just insensitive when you're putting the responsibility on the person who is the minority, you know, the person who is the marginalized person in this situation. When you're putting you're bringing up an issue and wanting them to give you that answer, that's just unfair and it's lazy. So I love that this book tackled that, and it tackled it in, to me, the best way, because I related to that so much because even in my personal life, I've had friends where I know they're well-meaning and they want to do what's right. And I have checked them and said, hey, you know, this isn't for me to answer. That's not something I need to answer, nor should you put me in that position or whatever the case is. And I feel like having those conversations will only strengthen and help people on both ends to just do better and be better. Like, you know, so I love the way that that was tackled within this book, and it was done with love. And I just appreciated so much about this book. It's hard to fit all of the things that I liked about this book into one video, especially one where I'm doing makeup. But just know that I really, really love this book. I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads, and it is a solid 4 stars for me. And I hate even having to rank books, but I feel like this book, I want to see this adapted into film. I want to see this actually come out with its own video game. I want everybody talking about it, and I want kids of all ages to have this book and to discuss this book. And yeah, I freaking loved it. Like, I really have no complaints. As a debut novel, like, this is your debut novel and you touched on so many things without making me literally turn into a ball of tears and feeling low, but you lifted me up while reading this and affirmed me. Like, yes, slay. I love it. Anyways, let's keep this conversation going below. If you've read this, let's talk about it. I would love to hear your thoughts. And I also want to hear everybody's feedback on, do you guys like this Get Ready With Me, or just, you know, just keep that for another channel. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. Okay, well, love and light. I'll see you guys. Bye.